Disclaimer, everything in this episode is for joking purpose only.
What do you think when you hear this sound? For many, it's cat food. The delicious smell of rotten meat, the wet, sticky, gray muck that makes our mouths water is nothing short of perfection. But in an ever-changing, fast-paced modern world, where is the time? For in the end, we all sink into the infinite void that is death.
Welcome to Spoony Standpoint, the pod where your hosts, Charlene and Leo, excavate into food culture. In this episode, we'll be talking about cat food. Although delicious, not many people seem to think about it on a daily basis. Is it good for us? Why are we addicted to it? But first, where does it come from?
Cat food has been an American staple since the beginning. The beginning of what? Who knows? The delicious concoction of an assortment of meats from tuna to chicken, from gravy to pate, have been spectacular.
But its origins have been seemingly unknown. Perhaps a gift from the gods themselves? Some would say yes. But where it comes from is as mysterious as those ferocious felines themselves.
The start of cat food is where most would expect it to be, ancient Egypt. To the ancient Egyptians, cats were gods. So much so that they even mummified their own cats so they too can be granted an afterlife. This very place and time were where cat food first originated. Cats have a natural thirst for blood. Rabbits, birds, and insects are any cat's favorite.
But what do cats love more than anything? Human flesh. Think about it. If you died in your home with your cat, what are the chances that they will eat you? High. Very high. In fact, too high. But what about after? Will those smaller prey suffice? Absolutely not. Human blood is very high in sodium, which means to any animal, a bit of human is as good as a nice filet mignon. But if a filet mignon had an average weight of 136 pounds.
Would you ever eat a lesser steak after eating filet mignon? No. So why would cats? The ancient Egyptians knew this, and thus they would sacrifice people in order to can and sell them to all cats around ancient Egypt. But that was thousands of years ago. What about now? Surely it isn't made of human flesh. Or is it?
In America, cat food is popular, probably because cats are popular. Who would have guessed? But the actual origins of modern cat food are strange. First, the original cat food was made by Catherine Foodman, who started a company called Catherine Foodman Incorporated. She was a pioneer for her time, which was the 19th century, since at that time, women were very much given the same status as men.
So, her company was important historically. But moving on. Business was going well for Foodman, but she wanted more. So, in 1875, she rebranded her company. But how? She decided that her name was too long to be popular, so she changed the name to a nickname she had when she was a kid, Cat, and her last name to a less male-oriented name, Food.
And thus, Cat Food Incorporated was born. Her company was so popular that, like Kleenex and Velcro, her company is synonymous with her product, which before her time was called feline sustenance. Since then, cat food has swept the nation. But where will it go in the future? How convenient is it really? And most importantly, what do cats think about it?
Every single morning, I have to get up very early in the morning to go to school, which is absolutely terrible. And I have to make dear Pyewacket his cat food. What consists of his cat food? you say. Well, there's the dry stuff. That's fine. But then there's the wet stuff. That stuff smells so bad. I have to hold my breath as I scoop it out and put it in his bowl, because otherwise I will gag, and I have, on some mornings, almost thrown up. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty terrible way to start your day. It's very inconvenient having to do it. So whoever created cat food, as we've talked about before, they are a terrible person. Well, I don't like it, obviously, but Pie, what do you think of it? I mean, it's your food, so what comes to mind when you think of that?
Alright, I understand your point, Leo. It is extremely inconvenient, but I think that's a lot of what makes cat food cat food. It's really the essence of inconvenience that brings it such popularity in America here. Like, come on, we have to give cat and foodmen some credit. Now, the smell might be pretty unappealing to you, to be honest, but that's just you. I don't know about you, but like, cat food is really good. Like, the wet stuff in it is even better. It's like you get the really good variety of texture in the wet food where you have the meat and the watery residue on the side, which gives it like a nice mouthfeel. It really coats your palate really nicely. And the savory flavor produced by the meat, usually chicken, but I kind of prefer beef, gives it a really nice flavor. And I think a lot of the brewer's rice too in it also gives it, a nice texture as well. Now, there's also dry food, which I know you don't hate as much, but you also have to kind of give it a little more credit. It's a good thing to snack on occasionally, grab a handful out of the bag and then occasionally pop some in while, doing your work or whatever. And yeah, I think both actually smell really good. Sometimes I just find myself ripping open a bag or like opening up a can just just to give it a little sniff for a bit. I mean, there's really, I don't know, I'm kind of more on Pyewacket's side here. I think he makes a really good point here. So yeah, I think we should just consider it from more perspectives for now. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get you super hungry. I know I was being pretty descriptive here. So, like, on that note, what do you think makes it so great?
Pyewacket, I think you nailed it right on the head. I have to agree. Inconvenience of this cat food is what makes it a superior product. Like, okay, I do hate getting up in the morning and making the cat food. One thing I will say, even though it's inconvenient, my God, that inconvenience makes it a great product. Isn't it just the best thing when you have to crack open a fresh thing of cat food? Even if the smell might not look good. As you said, Charlene, that if there was no smell, I would probably eat that thing by the spoonful, right? All the little nooks and crannies of the beef. Ooh, the tuna, mwah, seasoned perfectly. For what it looks like, of course, I've never actually tried it, but I'm sure if I did, I would absolutely love it. But this inconvenience of having to do all this really drives it into a special category of food. For most food, especially in America, it's super convenient, right? We talk about mac and cheese, right? That takes very quick. You can make that very quickly. You talk about fast food, food delivery, all so convenient. But cat food is not convenient. I give Pie half a can of wet food every single morning. I have to put it into a little Ziploc baggie. Get out a new small fork, scoop it out, put it in his bowl, bring it to his place, then fill up his water. That inconvenience, even though it takes a few minutes, the result, I'm sure, makes it even more spectacular. So I'll take back what I said before. You really switched me over to how amazing cat food is, and I will have to agree.
I'm so glad you changed your perspective there and really commented on like how good it is, because as someone who does eat cat food by the spoon, you definitely checked all the boxes. That really just, you really just described the essence of cat food really, really well. Adding on to what Pyewacket said before, the gravy is really nice as well, especially the salmon flavor, I gotta say. Also amazing. I like the chicken, but, the salmon also gotta... Well, sorry, I got a bit off track there, thinking about how good it is, but, you were right. Here, the inconvenience really is what made it so popular. It's really what drives its popularity in America, and it's what makes it cat food. It makes cat food. Think about it. All the extra time you spend scooping out the food, putting it in a Ziploc bag, giving it to your cat, that's all kind of bonding time. By doing that action, you're doing something for the cat, and by doing something for the cat, you feel like it needs you. You're caring for it, and thus it increases your relationship with your cat even more. That, I feel, is one of the most important essences of cat food, and I think cat food can definitely get more convenient, but it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. I think its current inconvenience is at a really good spot right now. I'd say even make it a little bit more inconvenient, if anything. So yeah, I definitely agree with what's going on, and I'm definitely on board with cat food. The future of cat food is now, and the future is inconvenience. That's all I have to say.
Charlene, as always, you are an incredible and eloquent speaker on issues such as this, especially when it comes to inconvenience and convenience. But I think if we're going to talk about cat food, we need to talk about the most inconvenient thing of all with cat food. There is not much of it in stores anymore. It's true. Whenever we go out to get cat food, sometimes it is pretty limited. We come back with stuff that Pyewacket might not like that much. It's all because of the beautiful new phrase, global supply chain issues. Because of these global supply chain issues, it means that a lot of supermarkets are not getting the amount of wet food that they were getting before. And now that I've contextualized all this, I think it's time for Pye, since you are the one most affected by it, can you please describe to us the emotional turmoil you must go through when we get back home from the supermarket thinking you have so much food, but in reality, we only brought home the stuff you didn't like. How do you feel when this happens?
Wow, Pye, it was really awesome to hear your perspective on this, and I think that's an incredibly heartfelt message. I really have to agree with some of your points there. And I just want to wrap this up by saying, although we have divided opinions over dry food or wet food, or how they taste, or which meat is the best, or at the end of the day, it all serves the same purpose. Inconvenience serves the same purpose for everyone, to provide for humans, parrots, cats, dogs, sheep, cows, pigs, capybaras, snakes, rats, mice, llamas, mosquitoes, axolotls, sponges, tigers, lions, bears, bacteria, frogs, bees, horses, giraffes, hippos, elephants, bearded dragons, tarantulas, chinchillas, goldfish, betta fish, salmon fish, tuna fish, tilapia fish, crabs, lobster. The list goes on.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Spoony Standpoint. We hope you liked it a lot. Don't forget to follow us at spoonable_standpoint for updates and link to our website. We will be angry if you say, I forgore. That is absolutely not an excuse.